What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Today, we're going to talk about something that you guys brought to my attention that I think is really important. Are you struggling to justify your prices to your client? The secret may not be in the services, but your brand. So today, we're going to talk about why building your brand is the best tool for changing what you're worth. And it's something that a lot of content creators don't focus on. They focus on quality, passion, they focus on gear, but they never think about their brand. So today I got a few stats that talk about why you should be doing this. And we may even talk a little bit about how you should be doing it. But first thing we got to do is roll this intro. Let's do that.
You're listening to Content and Cash, a Flashfilm Academy podcast. If you want to learn how to take pretty pictures, this is not the place. But if you're ready to make a living by learning the business behind the camera, buckle up, because it's time to turn passion into profit with your host, Ty Turner.
What's really good? If this is your first time on this channel right here, you got to know that this channel is about the business side of content creation. You can go other places to learn how to take better pictures, but when you're ready to get that bag, this is where you go. First things first, let me say this. Back to school, we running a back to school sale where you get 50% off your first 3 months over at flashfilmacademy.com. Go over there, 50% off your first 3 months. It's this week only. Don't say I didn't give it to you, because I'm giving it to you for 2 easy payments of cheap $99. All right, let's talk about a few things, because I got a few stats. Let me bring this over here. I got a few stats that I want to talk about. And if you got questions, make sure you get your hands up. And in the comments, I'm going to ask that you post where you from. I want to know where you're from, where you watching from. Feel free to hit that like button. And let's talk about some things, right? Let's talk about some things that's very important to you when it comes to getting the price that you want. Because a lot of people don't understand why they can't command the price they want. A lot of people think it's saturated, clients don't want to spend money. And the truth is, you don't look like what you're asking for. People will part ways with any amount of money if you can present value to that client. And value sometimes don't always come in the service you provide, but how you provide it. Just like I always say, an analogy I always use is people are afraid to spend $500 for a 100-inch TV in an alley, but will be happy to spend $5,000 for a 100-inch TV that's in a Best Buy, that's on display in a well-lit environment with people they feel like they can trust. The product is the same. How it's delivered is different. And we need to be mindful of that as we look at our brand and our business, right? If we want to get checks bigger than what we used to cash in, we're going to probably have to appeal to an audience we're not used to being around. And you got to do the research. Cleveland, what's going on? Representing. Spent many a summers in Cleveland, East Cleveland to be exact, representing. So very important that we start to think about our brand and how we present ourselves. And I got some stats that just highlight that, right? We get on here and I talk a lot about a lot of stuff, but sometimes, we got to bring some stats. Sometimes we got to punch you in the face with the stats. So today, that's what we're doing. We punch you in the face with the stats to bring it. Let's talk about number one stat. Build trust and justify pricing, right? We want to build trust. There's a lot of ways to do it. One of the ways I talk about doing it is being niche. That's why I tell you all to be niche. It builds trust. It's not about what you can do with your camera. It's about what the client sees and what they trust. So highlighting how investing in your brand enhances your reputation. Make clients more likely to trust your service and accept your pricing. Trust is a key factor, as 70% of consumers rely on online opinions, making brand reputation crucial. What this means is you need reviews, you need testimonials, you need things to show who you are, what you do, and your track record. This is why a lot of companies spend a lot of money and they do a lot to make sure that they have reputable reviews online. That's why I tell you, you got to get testimonials. Even in module 3, let's talk about it for a quick second. In module 3, I talk about what you need to get from clients as far as a testimonial to help your business grow, as well as how you can capture testimonials that you can sell. Like what is it that you need to know when capturing a testimonial for your client? There are certain things that we need to see in every testimonial to build trust so that people can buy from you, That's the thing. They got to trust you. Number 2, we want to stand out and command premium rates. You gotta stand out to command premium rates. Very important. Emphasize that a strong brand helps differentiate your services in a crowded market. What sets you apart? Is it the fact that you are niche? You specialize in solving this particular problem. You are the best at solving this particular problem. When you clearly communicate your unique value proposition, clients are more inclined to see your services as worth a premium price. We talk a lot about value propositions. This ain't the first time you've heard this. And there's a reason why I preach it. A lot of people don't want to go down on a niche because they can't decide on what they want to do because they're afraid they're going to miss money. The truth is, because you're not niche enough, you're missing big paychecks. By doing everything, you attract the type of client that this is a nice to have. We'll throw some money at it to see what happens, but we're not in a dire emergency to get this fixed. We don't want the best to do it because we don't feel like it's that big of a problem. If we did feel like it was that big of a problem, we would go after someone who solves this problem. Too easy. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Perfect. Real quick, this is brought to you by our Capture and Convert kit. That ain't it. Our Capture and Convert kit available over at Flashfilm Academy. Real quick, it's free. It's free. 5 courses, 2 free ebooks, free, and it's loud. Yeah, it's free and it's loud. There you go. Real quick. So let's keep punching you in the throat. Number 3 is we want to enhance the client experience and value, right? Customer service is something we talk a lot about in the inside of Flashfilm Academy. Customer service is super important. You should be focused on customer service with your brand. You should be working customer service into your systems and processes. And it should start from the moment you answer the phone, turning that lead into a client, or you reach out to that client. Very important. We go over a lot of that in module 2. I ain't gonna post a graphic, but you get it. Customer service is very important. And you gotta think, as a content creator that create content for businesses or people, you gotta think about what they're used to talking to starving artists. Starving artists like, yeah, okay, we can do it, blah, blah, blah. Hello? You need to be answering your phone like a business. When people call my company, I don't say hello. I have an opening monologue that I go through. Thank you for calling Flashfilm Academy, yada, 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 or Flashfilm Media, yada, yada, yada. You need to have something in place that you answer your phone with every time somebody calls. And let me be real with you. If your regular phone and your business phone is the same phone, you're doing it wrong. There's a lot of reasons why. We go over this deep in module 1. Your regular phone should not be your business phone, period. And if it is, and if it's worked for you for years, then you're not getting enough business. There's no way of putting it. If you got enough business, there's no way you would want your regular phone to be your business phone. And there's cheap ways to do it, as low as $20 a month, $30 a month to make this happen. So we want to do that. So let me just talk about this a little bit. Let me just read from my notes. We wanna go with the statistics that support this, right? We want to explain how a well-crafted brand ensures consistent and positive customer experience. Since 86% of buyers are willing to pay more, they're willing to pay more for excellent service. A strong brand identity can help justify higher rates through enhanced client satisfaction. You want to make sure your clients are satisfied. We want to make sure our clients are happy working with our brand, and we want to focus on customer service. A lot of people don't focus on customer service. A lot of people just focus on great images. They don't care how they talk to the client. They don't care how they treat the client. They don't care how fast they call back. They don't care how fast they reply to emails. They just think if I deliver a dope image, the client is going to be wild and they're going to forget everything else. I am here to tell you that if you focus on the business more than you focus on your image quality, you will have a greater business than your camera can produce images. And with great business come great money. With great money, you can invest in courses and classes to be a better photographer. There's nothing about being a better photographer or videographer that will help you grow your business. That is a myth. I don't care how good you are. If you can create the best video in the world, if you don't know how to be a business, you're either not going to get business or you're going to get taken advantage of, like every other artist that have this great talent and some record label come in and take advantage of them. The same is going to happen to you. And you need to know the difference. Satisfaction is very, very important when it comes to customer service to our client, and it's something that we have to build into our systems and processes. Build in our systems and processes. Jersey, UK in the house. Much love to you, bro. Appreciate you. Let's get to the next one, right? We want to showcase our expertise and credibility. Man, this is so important. Right? You can't do this if you don't have a niche. If your expertise is video production, you are of no value, because so is my iPhone. My iPhone specializes in 4K 60. My iPhone can properly expose the image and lock on the face and focus. Why are you different than using my iPhone? Why should I hire you over putting my iPhone on a tripod and filming? Because you got a slider? Because you think the quality is better? Quality is subjective. Better quality is subjective. Full frame versus an iPhone sensor is subjective. It's for pixel peepers. You and I. It's not for the client. The client don't care. I can probably do all of my video production work from an iPhone if I felt like the client wouldn't care. Don't believe me? Go watch the Apple keynote. All of those are shot with iPhones. You think the average, if the most valuable brand in the world can film their keynotes with an iPhone, you think your clients can't get away with it either? I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. The most valuable brand in the world who create marketing content to sell items to more people than anybody, they can get away with an iPhone for their video. How much longer do you think your clients are going to be paying extra for your camera kits? If you're still charging camera kits in 2024, you're not following the right people. You're not in the right rooms. You're not listening to the right crowds. You're following the wrong people if you're still charging for a camera kit in 2024. If you think your camera matters in 2024, you're going in the wrong direction. Because I'm going to say it again. The most valuable company in the world that sells more phones than almost anybody, with the highest profit margins than any other company on the planet, create their marketing content with a cell phone, with something that's currently in your pocket and your client's pocket. The fact that you have a better camera, the fact that you can offer better quality, which is subjective. It's not subjective. It's, bigger cameras offer better quality. But the fact that you think your client care about it anymore is totally incorrect. Are there clients that shooting videos and commercials? Absolutely. Are we moving towards a place where clients appreciate bigger cameras more or less? I think you know the answer to that. It's less. If you got questions, go ahead and get them on the screen. And as soon as we go through this, I'll jump on them. So if you got questions, Post them. We'll get to them. So it's very important that you showcase your expertise and your credibility. We want to point out that a robust brand position you as an expert in the field. This perceived expertise increases clients' confidence in your service, making them more willing to pay for quality and reliability. Reliability is huge when you work with B2B. They want to make sure you're going to be there. You have a team. That's why businesses don't hire people. People can twist the ankle and not show up to an event that they got millions tied into. Businesses don't have that problem. They have redundancies and things in place to ensure that the job get done. Redundancy is huge if you go into business. If you got one camera and you going into business, you're doing it wrong. You're listening to the wrong people. You need to have 2 cameras, because if you don't have 2, all my Flashfilm Academy members are right now, they're saying, you ain't got 1, because that's what we say. If you ain't got 2, you ain't got 1. Redundancy is your friend when it comes to business. If you're getting paid for this, you need to have redundancy in place. Memory cards, lights, cameras. That's why I don't trust YouTube gurus. They got 6 different cameras from 6 different manufacturers. Nobody would do that. No editor would do that to himself, where he got to match color from 6 different cameras. No editor, no person in their right mind who's sitting down with footage would do that to themselves. Why not have the same camera, 6 different angles with time code and matching color profiles? So I can cut and edit from different angles without having to edit color or do all kind of other stuff. I got one camera that shoot at 23.9 and another one that shoot at a true 24 frames per second. What am I going to do with that? Can it be matched and mixed? Absolutely. But why would I put myself through that if I have the experience of knowing what it's like trying to match Sony to Canon to Panasonic to Nikon? If I'm doing this for a living and I know I'm going to have multiple angles, I want multiple of the same camera, period. When you're watching people that go on jobs and they got 6 different cameras, they shooting with Canons, Sonys, and Reds. They bought those cameras so they can shoot reviews for you. They're not really out here in the field. Last but not least, let's attract and retain top talent. Understand the business. The talent is abundant. I can hire 1 million camera guys. Discuss how a strong brand not only draws in clients, but also top talent. This results in better service quality, which in turn supports your pricing strategy and delivers superior outcome that clients value. So let me go through it real quick. Let me run through the 5 real quick, because I'm getting in, I'm getting out. I'm hitting you with an uppercut and I'm stepping to the left. We want to build trust and justify your pricing by investing in our brand. We want to make sure that trust is the key factor. We got to show trust on our websites. We talk a lot about showing trust. How do we build trust through our website and our brand? Through uniforms, through clipboards, through making sure everybody is dressed in the uniform with your brand on it, not just people showing up in black shirts. And just think about it. Would you be willing to spend more if the client showed up in a dingy t-shirt or if a client showed up in a polo shirt? That's nice and the right color with their logo. So before you go out and get a bunch of t-shirts that get faded and wrinkled, reconsider. Polo shirts are the way to go, but I'm not gonna give all that up because that's in module 1. And if you're a Flashfilm Academy member, then you know these things because we talk about these things every day. All right, cool. Let's go to number 2 real quick. We want to stand out and command premium rates. How do you do that? Right? How do you do that? We want to clearly communicate our unique value proposition. Some of you guys don't have value propositions. You just like, I'm a photographer. I'm a videographer. I like taking pictures of people doing X, Y, and Z. It's not a value proposition. That's what you like. That's not about the client. They're not going to hire you because you like something. The fact that you like something don't solve their problem. You're talking features and not benefits. We need to talk benefit to the client. What's in it for me? That's what the client is thinking all day, every day as they look at your brand, your website, your Instagram, whatever. What's in it for me? Why should I give you my hard-earned money? What's in it for me? And if you don't do a good job at expressing that to the client, you're going to have a hard time. So we want to make sure that we're doing that to stand out. And your niche, your expertise, this trust factor is how you separate yourself in a saturated market. What's the difference between you and the next guy? You think you spend more on gear, your style, your look, the way that clients don't care about that. You are deep into the artistry of photography and videography. You're deep into it. Your client is going home watching cheap homemade movies on whatever app and enjoying it. You the one thinking you got to be Steven Spielberg. Your client wants something that works, period, right? They want something that works. So we want to make sure that we stand out in the market by having a niche, and we are an expert at something. We also want to make sure we enhance client experience and value by having a well-crafted customer experience, right? How hard is it for them to give you their money? Is it hard for somebody to work with you? Do you got to send 6 links and Cash App this and Venmo that? Like how hard is it to work with you? Next, we want to showcase what is your niche, and I also want to see your experience, right? I see that you have a niche, but now show me proof. Show me what you have done for other clients. You've taken them from A to Z. What have you done for other clients that have the problems that I have as a customer? When you go to your doctor, I'll give you an example. Go look at any plastic surgeon website. They got before and after. The problems that they solve is blank. Here's a before and after. If you're on the fence, that will help you get over the fence. Last but not least, we want to attract, and retain talent. Talent is abundant. It's a lot of people who know how to work their camera. It's a lot of people who only want to be artists. Now that you have the business bug, you hire them people. So there's a question that says, in my opinion, which camera is best for photography and which camera is best overall? So let me tell you, that's a loaded question. That's like asking a chef which knife is best. It depends what you're cooking. You have to learn more about what you want to capture. There is no overall camera that's better. There is no overall lens that's better. There is no overall manufacturer that's better. There's different cameras for different jobs. Just like there's different skillets and pans for different jobs. There's different knives and tools for different jobs. How do you know the difference between a steak knife and, a butter knife, right? It depends what you're cutting. You have to determine what it is you're going after before you choose a camera. There is no answer to that question. When that question get asked, what I'm always telling people is you need to decide what you want to do first. Because that's like asking me which car is best. For what? Are we racing? Do I got to haul a boat? Am I going over ice terrain? Like, that's subjective. The question is always with you. You have to decide what you want to do. And sometimes a lot of people have not learned enough about the industry or about photography or videography in general to understand what they need to do or why they need to do it. But that is the answer to your question. If you are a chef, what are you cooking? Seafood? Are you cooking steak? Like, all of that depends on what you want to do. All right. Sam T said, working with a client and they have a product that's extremely niche and they're struggling. The videos we made are doing what they're designed to do, but sales are struggling. Any advice? I personally think their price is too high. It could be their brand as well. Maybe their brand look cheap and they're trying to sell a high ticket item. Maybe they struggle with branding. It's a lot of companies a lot of people want a price. They want to get a certain price for something, but they don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to invest in their brand. Let me give you an example, right? We've all been into a mom and pop local restaurant, and the branding is like, it's supposed to be a Mexican restaurant, but it looks boring in here. Taco Bells look better than this. Big companies understand the importance of investing in the brand. Look at how good McDonald's look to sell you a $2 burger. Look at how good their facilities are. to sell. Look, they got their logo on the napkins, on the straws. And I know you're looking at it like, well, that's a big brand, but they had to get there. Look at how much they invest in branding to sell you a value menu item. You mean to tell me you want to sell a premium item and you can't compete with McDonald's? Visually? You want to sell a $30,000 video, but pull up to the client in your regular car, in regular clothes. You want to send them an email from a Gmail account. It don't work like that. And if you think it worked like that, it's only because you haven't learned enough about business. If you think that's the way to go, you have not learned enough about business. So let me post this so people can if they got questions, we can go ahead. And if you got questions, get them on the screen because we're going to be in and out. So you have to invest. Branding is where a lot of content creators skip because they think I'm enough and you're not. You as an individual are not enough. People don't know you. You know your story. People can't look at you and determine your story. We just assume that because I'm here and I'm a photographer and I got 1,000 Instagram followers, that a client will look at me and assume that you can solve their problem. They can't. They can't. Let me give you an example of branding and why it's so important. Let's look at, everybody's heard of Foot Locker, right? We all know Foot Locker sells shoes of all sizes. So why would they come out with a kid's Foot Locker? Why would they come out with a ladies' Foot Locker? Why? It's all about branding to make it even easier for people to make a decision. Let's go to kids' Foot Locker because they got more kids' shoes. They really don't carry more than a regular Foot Locker. They just display more and make it. That's why back in the day, they used to be connected to the same store. It's all about branding and making sure that they brand to sell more. All they did was get more niche. Regular Foot Locker wasn't niche enough. We know they only sell sneakers, gym shoes, whatever you call them, tennis shoes. They went even more niche by saying ladies Foot Locker and kids Foot Locker. So you have to be very niche in what you do so that you can appeal to your client. Being just a photographer or videographer is not enough. They got that in their pocket. Everybody's a photographer now. You know how many people tell me I'm a photographer because I got the eye for it? Photography ain't got nothing to do with just angles. You don't even know the exposure triangle. We talking about you're a photographer. I got the eye. I could just see it. Yeah, okay. I used to feel like that too until I went to school for it and realized there was way more to it than just having the vision to see something. When you point an iPhone at something and it's making the decisions for you, who's really creating? Because photographers understand why they're at the shutter speed they're at. They understand what's their focus in the picture. They understand how to use things within the camera to create an image. Amateurs point at whatever and hope to capture something. Pros create within the camera. They use the tools within the camera to create the image. Amateurs spray and pray. I think I got something. When I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was first started in photography school, I would go out and take 2,000-3,000 pictures and hope to get something that was dope. I think this would be dope from this angle. As I became a pro, I looked at things differently. I knew what I wanted to capture, how I wanted to capture, why I'm capturing it at f2.8 instead of f16, why I'm capturing at this shutter speed. I knew about composition and how to make sure that the image was balanced and things like that. There's a lot more. Go for it, Sam. You can ask all the questions you want. One more question, off topic. I'm not a photographer. I was trying to shoot the northern lights with my camera and the footage looked trash. Please and thank you. Well, there's a lot of variables that go into that question. I mean, what type of lens, what type of camera, shutter speed, like there's a lot that go into it. You may want to practice more low light photography and maybe slower shutter shots. Again, those are things, and that's kind of what I was talking about as a professional. If I'm going to capture the northern lights, I'm probably bringing a very fast lens. I'm probably bringing a very wide lens. There's a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm probably bringing a certain tripod. right? I'm probably shooting at a certain shutter speed. I'm probably shooting at, a 30-second shutter speed, not 1/30th, but 30 seconds. I'm probably going to need to be on a tripod that's not moving, that's stuck and sturdy. There's a lot that go into that. But let me say this, because like I said, I'm going to get in and get out real quick. It's very important that you start to invest in your brand. And as you invest in your brand, then you will command the prices you want. A lot of people want money and they don't want to do the work. They don't want to make the investments. They don't want to put in the effort. They don't want to think about it. Thinking is work, and a lot of people don't want to do it. That's why people judge you or make assumptions, because they don't want to think about it. You will not be successful unless you're willing to put in the brain power and the manpower to be great. That's why it's a big, thick group of saturated people who want to do the bare minimum, expecting the maximum in return. You have to go and you have to think. You got to be a thinker to win in business, period. You got to be a thinker more than a doer to win in business. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. All right? Let me post this on here because I need to know what's the number one thing that'll help you when it comes to growing your business. I want you to go to questions.flashfilmacademy.com and I want you to tell me what's the number one thing that's holding you back. What's the number one thing that's holding you back? All right? Any last questions before we slide out? I'm on here late. But what other gear is a good investment to elevate your business? So I do have some gear. I have some listed here. So I'm gonna take the same approach I took before, because we gotta identify what our business is first. There is no one piece of gear, and let me say this. Let me get on my soapbox here and talk to you guys who are watching this content on whatever social media you're watching it on. Very important. Listen. I'm gonna tell you something that your favorite YouTubers, they're not gonna tell you. Come a little closer. Let me tell you this. Come a little closer to the screen. Let me put this on here. Listen, you don't need all that damn gear to be great. Stop thinking you need gear. Gear won't change you. You know what you need to be great? You need clients. Clients that's going to pay you for what you offer. So you can rent the gear. You can't rent the business. You can't rent the website. You can't rent the branding. You can't rent the shirts with your logos on it. You can rent the gear. Don't worry about the gear. It's rentable. If you grow the business, it'll bring you the money to buy the gear. Don't focus on the gear. Gear won't help you. And we talk about this a lot in module 1. You know what determines what's the right gear for you to buy? Your client. How do I know what's the right gear if I don't know who I'm working with, right? Same analogy with being a chef. How do I know what's a good knife if I don't know what I'm cutting? If I don't know who am I cooking for, right? You could be in the industry where you need a macro lens to take close-ups. You could be in the industry where you don't. You'll never touch a macro lens. But what you have to do is you have to define your target audience and what's your expertise, what's your niche, and let that audience tell you what gear you need. Don't stop watching YouTube and Instagram where guys are just telling you to go buy all this stuff just in case, and you don't know how to get a client to pay for that stuff. Focus on getting the client first. The client will tell you what they need, or they'll have problems and you'll know what new gear solves that problem so that you can charge for it and make money. It's not about the gear. Don't focus on the gear. Focus on the client. Focus on growing the business. The business will solve everything. It'll tell you what gear to buy. It'll tell you who need it and what problem it solves. And it'll bring you the money to buy it. I know all the YouTubers and Instagrammers that got so much gear. Let me tell you, they're getting paid by these companies to push that on you. Sorry, not sorry. Cat's out the bag. Their job is to sell you gear because you think you need it. Because a lot of people think that gear will bring them clients, and that it will not happen. Integrity Vision, what tools are you using to find what people are looking for? So there's quite a few tools that we're using. A lot of it is covered in module 1. It's a lot to go into this, and I'm gonna tell you why. There is no quick answer. There is no one tool. There's just not a quick answer for that. The question is, what are you good at? What is your expertise? What is your niche? What room can you enter and talk as though you belong in? It's not about finding people who need video. Let me tell you this. Let me just be real with you. If you're looking for clients that need photo and video, if you're like, man, I want clients that just want to buy photo and buy video, I can guarantee you're going to get the bottom of the barrel worst clients in this industry. This is something nobody's telling you. Let me put the gem. If you are looking for clients that are ready to buy photo and video, you are going to get the bottom of the barrel, cheapest clients. You probably didn't know that. Let me tell you why. Because you caught them too late in the buying stage. They have access to the same information you have access to, right? They can go on Google and find local videographers. The problem is they don't want to spend money for them, and they want a starving artist. And they're willing to throw a few dollars at a starving artist. So if you're stuck in that saturated area of finding clients who want photo or video, that is why you're not having success. The clients that got the bag got a problem. They may not even know photo or video is the answer to that problem. They just know they got a problem, and they're willing to have it solved by any means necessary. They want somebody that specializes in solving their problem. Don't believe me? Watch this. You ever ask for a price in an emergency room? You ever ask a nurse or a doctor or a surgeon to stop so you can see the price of what they're doing? Probably not. Because if your ass ever went to an emergency room, you didn't care about pricing. You cared about being alive or fixing whatever you had damaged or stopping the pain. Those are the best clients. Emergency rooms make way more money than standard doctors. Those are the best clients. Those are the clients you want. And you got to build a brand to attract those clients. He said, in the context of your conversations with your clients in the most recent video, you mentioned doing some research. Yeah, so as far as doing research for the client or doing research as far as what clients are looking for. So in my most recent video, I work with a client on helping them catching people earlier in the buying stage to helping them find clients for their business. In part 2 of that video, I go over the tools that we use to help look up that information. On part 2, which is available in the inside for my gold members, it talks to what tools we use to find out not only what clients are looking for, but if we're going to have success creating content in that space. What type of traffic should we expect by creating a video that addresses this topic? So in part 2, it goes into that. It talks about, because we use a lot of AI tools, we use a lot of different websites to determine what that is for the client. So we're not just shooting in the dark. We can go to a client with a graph and a chart and say, hey, client, we can do a video on this. It's a little bit to the left of what you're talking about, but we can draw them in because the popularity is there. This is what people are searching for. They can still end up being your client, but we need to get it from here to here. There are tools that we have in place to do that. Those tools are available to everybody. Part 2 of that video goes into those tools and explain how we can first do the research for our clients. So the goal is, your client is selling widgets. We want to find out who may need a widget, right? We have tools in place to look at what people are searching for that's interested in widgets. They may not be searching for widgets. They may be searching for, do I really even need a widget? Is the widget worth it? And I'm just using that as, just fill in the blank. So we do have tools in place to help us determine what people are searching for, what questions they have, and then we have tools in place to create content to answer those questions. So that's the goal. Part 2 of that video breaks down that. And if you're not a Flashfilm Academy member, remember, half off this week, half off your first 3 months this week. All right, there you go. Another question coming up. Are these tips universal? Can they be applied in remote areas such as local here in Africa? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes. So we don't teach you what to think at Flashfilm Academy. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to teach you how to think about it. And it can apply wherever you are. We got students from Sweden, Australia, everywhere. If they're a business, if their goal is to make money and they need content, you can definitely benefit from it, no matter where you are in the world, because we're not saying you got to do X, Y, and Z. We're saying you need this information. This is how you find it. Now, once you get that information, we also need this information, and this is how you get it from your area. Now, based off what those two give you, let's combine it and do X, Y, and Z. So it's not this the thing about, and usually, I just want to be very transparent. I want to be just straight up real with you. For people who have never invested in information, these are some of the hurdles that or objections that usually happen, right? They've never invested in information. They believe that they can get everything from free on YouTube and they can place it together. Let me tell you, when you invest in information, you get things differently. One, you get more than just the ingredients. You get the recipe, right? Because you got to do things in order. I'm telling you, hey, when we make cakes, there's an egg in there, there's some sugar, there's some flour. I'm telling you that now. That's all I do. Every time I come on here, I'm telling you what ingredients. Behind the paywall, I'm telling you, crack 2 eggs, pour it into a cup of flour, then stir it before we add the sugar. Here is why. The recipe is 10 times more important than the ingredients. You know what materials are in your car. It don't mean you can put it together. You know it's metal, plastic, copper. You know what's in your car. That don't mean you can go build it. The stuff that's behind the paywall is instructions on how to build it, piece by piece. And if this don't fit, we got to go back to step 3 and redo that, so that you have the recipe and not just the ingredients. I think it's so important. And before some people have never, they don't understand the value of information because they've never used it. They've never tried to use it, and they assume they know what it is. And it's just completely different. So it's very important that you open your mind to learning the proper way to do something. You know what I'm saying? You know what parts, or you have an idea as to how your washing machine works, but you don't know what the parts are. You know your washing machine shake and it spin and it add water and it clean clothes, but you really don't know the inner work. If you had to go build another washing machine, you would be starting over from scratch, from since before washing machines were invented. You don't have the expertise of years of companies building washing machines and what work and what don't work and why they do this and why this waterproof and why that's not. You need that information to outperform what's currently available. And a lot of people don't understand how valuable that is to them as content creators who want to make a living in this industry. It's been done. There's plenty of people doing it. We got people posting 6 figures. Telling me, Ty, you was right. 6 figures don't feel like 6 figures when you get to it. We want to do 7. And they move on and do more. So it's not about, you're getting the ingredients right now. When you're ready for the recipe, then you come see me. And we put it all together. But I'm going to tell you, this is the part that a lot of people, it hurt. They're going to realize that about 80% of what they've been doing was wrong. And it was, and the content explains why it's wrong, but it's just what a majority of people who have platforms, they're not in the field like that. And because they shoot great images that attract people and people love it, they can just say whatever. Just like, we all got friends that's in multi-level marketing. Who do they put to do the speaking? Not the broke guy. They put the rich guy out there. Hey, I'm rich. I got 3 Mercedes, 2 fur coats, and all these gold chains. Listen to me, and I'll make you rich. And what they do it. So guess what? People understand if I pose with all these expensive cameras that people can't afford, if I come on here and I look like I'm filming, people are going to trust me. They're going to believe me. And a lot of people do, and they're designed to sell you more gear. That's why I've been shooting more content in the field, working with clients. So you guys see that I'm actually out in the field. Most of the time I'm doing one-man band, maybe a small crew, 2-3 guys. But look at some of the companies that I've worked with. We just recently shot some training videos for Spectrum, which is a cable company here in America. For those who are in America, we did it with a 2-man crew. This is a big cable company. We took a 2-man crew and shot it. You don't need 50 guys for them. They're more concerned with the end result and it doing what they needed to do. They're more concerned with your ability to solve a problem. And that is what you need to be presenting before you present your camera. Another thing too, for my gold members who have access to part 2 of the video, notice we never talk about cameras in part 2 of that video when I'm talking to the client, because I record the whole interaction. We never talk about gear. We never talk about resolution. We never talk about frame rate. We talk about one thing: solving the client's problem, because that's all they care about. You care about gear. You're the artist. You're the camera guy. You're the pixel peeper, not the client. So it's very important that we address the client's needs and remove our ego from the situation, because they're paying the money. If you want to appeal to yourself and take your money out of your left pocket and put it in your right pocket, good luck. I guarantee you that dollar amount won't increase every time you switch it from pocket to pocket. The goal is to understand what the people who have the money I want, what's their issues? What's bothering them? How can I make their life better? Solve big problems, cash big checks. And as I always say, if you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, you'll get paid like a business. The choice is yours. Every week I come on here and I bring a bucket of water. It's up to you if you want to drink. You can stay thirsty. I'm cool with that. But the choice is yours. The information is there. If you go on Flashfilm Academy, it's so many testimonials from real people that's using it to grow their business. I can't even post all of them. I got too many testimonials. So it's not a matter of if it'll happen for you. It's a matter of when. When you're ready to learn the proper way of doing it in today's modern era, we got it. It is what it is. Or you can keep listening to the guys on YouTube that's telling you to bolster your portfolio and post 10 times a week on Instagram, as if big clients are really on Instagram searching through people trying to find somebody that can solve their problem. It's not happening. Anyway, any last questions before we roll out? We'll give people a few seconds. If you need help, one more time, I'm going to post this. I want to know what's the number one hurdle to help you grow your business. Go to questions.flashfilmacademy.com, post that. And this week only, half off your first 3 months, back to school sale. Behind the kits, I'm really interested in finding a beta client for making training videos and starting in that niche. What's the number one tip you have for finding my first beta client? It should be 100% free. Absolutely. Module 1 go over a lot about that. This is where I'm gonna punch you in the throat again with that. Because if you don't know what you should be getting from a beta client, you shouldn't be getting a beta client. If you don't know what all information you should be getting from a beta client, you shouldn't be getting a beta client. Not only that, Module 1 come with a template on how you should approach your beta client, word for word, what you should be saying to a beta client and what you should not be saying to a beta client. A lot of people fail at bringing in true beta clients because they're going in there with the wrong mentality. They're going in there looking like a sales rep. So there are things you need to have in place before you go to a beta client. There's things you need to get from your beta client. There's things you need to implement while with your beta client. And there's things you need not to do with a beta client. There's things you need to be careful of that beta clients may take advantage of. And you need to know how to present these as two different items. You need to know how to You need to know how to present the right package to a beta client, or you will get taken advantage of. Every client think that everybody with a camera is a starving artist, hoping to shoot something and fill up their portfolio because so many people have run out here like, let me just shoot this for free. Let me figure. No, that's not what we're doing. So there's a lot to know. A lot of people just take the idea of beta client and go run with it and do it incorrectly. They don't see the results or they don't get the full potential of a beta client, and they don't see the results. They just think I'm gonna piece this together. Again, it's an ingredient. They think I'm just gonna piece this together from what I learned from you on YouTube, Ty, and I'm gonna go get a beta client and it's gonna work. It don't work like that. You're gonna get used and abused, and you're gonna get 3% of what you should get if you did it right. There's no way you should have a beta client. One, there's no way you should only have one, but that's in the module. We'll go over that. Two, there's no way you shouldn't know what you should be pricing. That's when people are like, well, how should I price my work? We explain how to find the price. You don't have to ask for a budget. I know what you're working with. I don't need to ask you for a budget. I know what the market is. I know my prices are according to the market. Walmart don't call you up and ask you how much should toothpaste be. They price it according to the market. Well, how do I find this information if I'm a content creator? I don't want to just guess. I don't want to just price it and then say, well, man, maybe I'm not getting calls because it's too high. Maybe I'm getting too many calls because it's too low. Are you guessing? We ain't guessing in business. The information is available. You just don't know how to get it. The information on what you should be charging or what your niche should be is available in black and white. The information on who you should approach and how you should approach them is available. You just don't know how to get it. The information on whether or not your website converts, if it works, that information is available. The information on what services or upsells or add-ons you should provide, that information is available. You just don't know how to get it. How to work with clients who want it done right and not done cheap. The information on where those clients are in abundance is available. You just don't have that information. And it's actually not hard to do. When you understand the algorithm, when you understand what needs to be in place to attract these clients and where they are, the game gets easier. Success becomes a lot easier when you understand the missing pieces you don't currently understand. I can give you the ingredients all day. You can mix them all day long to try to come up with a cake like mine. You're still not going to know what temperature to put the oven on. You're still not going to know how long to keep it in the oven. You're still not going to know how long you need to let the cake sit before you start putting icing on it. You ain't going to know that. You ain't going to know what type of pan you should be cooking the cake in. Should you spray some Pam in the pan? Should you oil it down? It's a lot of things you don't know. All you know is eggs, sugar, butter. That's all you know. You don't know about the vanilla extract. You don't know about all the little stuff that needs to happen in order to make this cake a delicious cake. You just know about a few ingredients. So that's what you're missing when you're not a Flashfilm Academy member. The recipe for success. It's not hard. And once you start learning it, it will make sense. You'll be like, damn, this makes sense. Never thought about it like that. It makes sense. So there are some things that need to be taken in consideration. A lot of things before we even get to a beta client. If you're a one-man band with a camera and you want to do this, you shouldn't even be looking at a beta client right now. It won't help you. Not at all. In fact, it'll mess you up. If you're not ready, if you don't have things in place to present to a beta client and you get a beta client, it will take you steps backwards. And it could tarnish your reputation in the area. It could tarnish your ability to promote your brand or build a brand in your area because you didn't do it right. Beta client is an ingredient. You need the recipe. So just things to think about before we start, picking up stuff and trying to apply it to our business without having the proper things in place to benefit from that experience. Getting a beta client is hard sometimes. If you go through a lot and you get it and you drop the ball, if you can't keep a client happy for free, there's no way in hell you're keeping a client happy when they're paying their money. So these are things to consider. All right. I see no more questions on the screen. So with that being said, listen, all my gold members, all my Flashfilm Academy members, I will see you live tomorrow on our accountability meeting that we do every week, where we get to ask real questions about the training material, about current video. And this week we're going to talk about the video that we launched yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, check it out. It talks about video strategy and why it is always greater than image quality. And for my gold members, I literally take you with me on a consultant job, on a consultant call with a client, where I'm there with the client in person, and you get to listen to my whole conversation. It's like 45 minutes worth of me talking to a client to discover what type of content will help them. I'm brought in because of a problem. We're going to identify that problem. We're going to highlight that problem. We're going to create strategy around fixing that problem. In part 2 of this video, I take you with me on the whole journey so that you can see me talk to a client and see me break down the issues that the client is having. And then, like I always tell you, because I'm the subject matter expert working with this client, you're going to see me write the prescription live in person. It'll probably be a part 3 and a part 4, because I'm going to go into more detail on what I did for the client, even though that video talks about what tools I will use to create the content, what tools I will use to help me solve the problem for the client. It's a lot of stuff you need to know. And when you understand how to use those tools and present the benefit to the client of those tools, we ain't talking about features because they don't care, but what's the benefit to the client that we're writing an article to support the video? When you understand how that sets our brand apart, then you'll understand why we can charge what we charge and why you may be having a problem charging what you're charging. It's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. And it can be, once you understand it, it becomes muscle memory. It's easy. It's light work. We have AI tools in place so we can click a button and it just start working. We ain't got to do nothing but come back and show up. So these are things that, you know, we need to really, really understand when we want to work with clients that pay top dollar, because it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Right? McDonald's invests in their facilities they're building. They invest in the computers to take orders so that the worker's job can be as easy as possible. When they drop a fry, they got a timer on it and everything. They ain't got to think about how to cook fries. They just got to wait for a buzzer to go off so they know in fact, the fry machine lift the fries out automatically. That's how easy it is to do their job, because McDonald's have worked hard to make sure that their job is easier so that they can provide better consistency from store to store. Well, those are things we want to implement into our business to make our job easier so that we're consistent and we can consistently close clients. That's the name of the game, being consistent. And it ain't about you getting jobs. It's about you consistently closing clients so that you can stay in business and your business can grow. If you're not thinking about it like that, you're not going to be in business long, because we don't spend a lot of time chasing new clients. We spend a lot of time doing the things that will help us attract the clients we want, make the clients we have happy, and consistently close clients or work with our consistent clients consistently. Did I say consistent enough for you? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? All right. We got no more questions. So with that being said, hey, I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. If you're not a Flashfilm Academy member, you're missing out. You're missing out. If you want to do this for a living and you're not a member, you're missing out. This week, only 50% off your first 3 months. All right? With that being said, I will see you all in the future. And as always, be inspired, be creative, but your damn show better be profitable. What's the point of doing this if we can't buy all the gear we want and live the life we want. We live in an era where every business around you need content. Every business. They need content for different platforms all the time. Why are you struggling? How do you know how to work a camera? How do you know how to create content? You're doing it for free on social media. There's businesses around you that need you, and you're struggling right now. How is that even possible? The disconnect is here. It's not with your gear. The disconnect is here. You got all the gear. How's that helping you? Go sit your camera in your window and tell me how many people knock on your door. I guarantee you the number probably won't go up unless they come in and steal it. You may hear a break in your glass and your camera may be gone, but showing people the gear you have won't close you more clients. It's time we realize that. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the future.
You've been listening to Content and Cash, a Flashfilm Academy podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to our webpage at www.flashfilmacademy.com.